Good morning, everybody. This is Corey Windler with my final ePortfolio presentation. As you can see, obviously, right there with candidate information, a couple professional and personal goals I have is, first of all, my professional goals is I'd like to become an assistant principal sometime in the next couple of years. We have a couple of new schools opening up here in Mays, and I was hoping that maybe I could possibly fill one of those positions. And in the next 5 years, I'd also like to become a principal. And then after that, I don't know, I had a hard time with that one. I don't know why, but 10 years seems like a long time. However, whatever I'm doing, I just hope I'm doing something that's making an impact on people. Personal goals, finish this program, which I'm hopefully going to do here in the next week. Number 2, keep on learning. That's a big one for me. I didn't used to have the mindset of continuing to improve and learn more things, but as I've gotten older and gained some knowledge with age, it seems like that's something that always continues to come up in my life. And thirdly, number 3, show other people that they're important. So let's jump into some information here. I'm going to go to my philosophy of education and talk a little bit about some things that are important to me in education and some different things that I would like to continue to do and just kind of my way of thinking. My first thing that I discussed in my philosophy of education is that caring for others above ourselves is one of the most important traits that we must possess as leaders. Obviously, that's a servant leadership thing, and that's kind of my philosophy in life as well. You serve others, they'll serve you. So that's kind of where I come from on that. Secondly, I believe that hard work can make up for inadequacies in everything that we do in life. We're not all going to be great at everything that we do, but if you work hard, a lot of times you can overcome some of those things that you may not be proficient in or you may not excel at. The third thing that I believe in, and I also talked about a little bit before, was that learning is the only path to true knowledge and understanding. You have to be able to continually put your feet in other people's shoes, try to understand what they're doing, gain wisdom, because you're not going to understand everything in life, but if you try to, you're obviously going to be better off. It helps with conflict management, it helps with resolution, so those are 3 things. Some of my attitudes, obviously you have to be positive in this profession. If you're not positive, you won't make it very long, and then you won't have an impact on the people that you truly want to serve. Some of my principles that I've kind of found that I think that I need to really focus on moving forward is to lead with empathy and care. You got to lead by example, have an unwavering work ethic, do what's right, and enjoy your job. I mean, it's just like everything else in life. We're not going to have every day. It's not going to be a great day. But if you go into it with the mindset of, hey, I'm making a difference, I'm going to try, then you'll be a lot better off in the end. Some of the behaviors that I would like to lead with is solving each situation as I would as an individual. So you can't, obviously in life it's hard sometimes. You have judgments and things like that. But in this profession, you absolutely have to try every single day not to do that. You can't judge others. You just have to work and come up with a solution to helping kids, because that's ultimately what we're here for. Help kids do what's best for people. One of the biggest things that I will always try to do also is to learn from my mistakes. That's one of the last things that I wrote here. It's so important to everything that we do in life. We are not perfect. We're people. We will fail and we will falter in the things that we do, but it's important that we learn from those things and always ask other people for help when needed. Some other things here is my building leadership endorsement, non-degree endorsement plan. Here's some of the classes that I've taken. I took school law, supervision and evaluation of personnel, introduction to school administration, special education for school leaders, school finance, school community relations, educational leadership related courses. I took educational leadership, and I also took curriculum planning and assessment. I would say out of all of my classes, the one that I actually enjoyed the most was probably this one, AEP 855, Educational Leadership. I really enjoyed doing that one. It taught me a lot of things about being a better leader. I think that's something that I personally struggle with a little bit. I can do the administrative part extremely well. It's the being a leader and just stepping forward and taking on those roles in an active role, I guess, instead of just working and doing things by example. So that's one thing I'd like to work on moving forward. The hardest class that I took, I believe, was AEP 859, Curriculum Planning and Assessment. I thought that was a very challenging class. I took it as an elective just so I could get a few more hours to finish my portfolio. But it was a very good class for me because it was very challenging. So it was very beneficial to what I learned. Some of the activities and things that I did moving throughout the program, I also found it very challenging. There was a lot of things that were going on, and it was hard to do some of these things, but it was very beneficial to my learning. Here's me at an elementary field day, which was probably one of my favorite things that I did activity-wise. I supervised the elementary field day, and it was just awesome to see the kids out there having a great time and really enjoying themselves and basically getting wet because they had a great time playing in the water. So that was one of my favorite things about that. Some of the secondary things that I did. Here's a picture I took at a band concert. I supervised several of those in the springtime, and they were a great opportunity to really get to see kind of the kids in a different level outside. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I learned from this whole thing as well, is that you've got to get out as an administrator, and you have to do some of those other things. It's not always easy, and it is time-consuming, but it also lets you see what's really important to the kids in a different light. So I think that was very beneficial to me. So I know that as I move forward as an administrator, it is important to be at those things. It's that work-life balance, and it is extremely important to have. I mean, you can work too much, but you also need to make sure and try to be there for some of those things because it really does make a difference. The third thing that I have currently been working on quite a bit lately is our district is currently working on a bond issue. Where, as I said before, we're hopefully going to build 2 new schools come this spring. And so I'm on the communications subcommittee. So we've been working on slogans, yard signs, things like that. So that's why I put a picture of this up there. And it's been very beneficial to me as well. I had no idea what went on with a bond issue. Honestly, it's very interesting, and I hope moving forward as I become an administrator, I don't know, maybe someday superintendent, we'll see. It just kind of depends on what's going on with life and kind of where I go. But anyways, it was a very beneficial thing. I've worked with a lot of different people throughout the community, worked with school leaders, worked with parents. It's just been very rewarding getting together as a group, and that's one thing that I really recognize as I have to move forward, is that if you can bring your key stakeholders together and work as a unit, you're going to be so much more successful. One of the things that we've talked about is that we had a bond issue a few years back in the district, and almost everybody in this bond issue that's been helping in the subcommittee and these committees has said that this time around there's so much more of a positive note. The leadership is fantastic, and so I think those are some things that I need to take away moving forward as an administrator. Here's my activity log, and this was a lot harder to get through than what I thought it would be. When I first started the program, it was really, really easy to do some things, but as I got going, I decided, you know what, I'm going to really focus on doing my classwork, and then I'll try to finish up all of my hours towards the end of the program. And that's kind of where I ended up. As you can see, I did a lot of secondary stuff. The district things were a lot harder to get hours for, just because it's just hard to do. So anybody going into the program, that would be one of the things that I would suggest to them is try to start working on district opportunities very early in the program, because if you don't, you're going to have a hard time finding some things to work on. As I said, one of the best things for me was this bond committee issue, because it's allowed me an opportunity to get several hours and definitely have some contact with key stakeholders and things like that. But like I said, I got a lot of secondary stuff. I did supervising basketball games. I did track meets. I did all kinds of stuff secondary, just because I teach middle school, so it was a lot easier for me to get in on those things. The other thing that was pretty cool to me, and I had never really been in an elementary school, but I spent a lot of time shadowing the elementary school principal. Basically, throughout this entire spring, I followed him around. I tried to go there about 2 to 3 hours a week, but I got to do some other pretty cool things with him too. Like I said before, field day. I also did a kindergarten blast. That's where all the incoming parents from kindergartens come in, and they do a presentation for them, and they talk through some stuff. But the coolest thing that I saw and I learned from that was that our principal did an excellent job of communicating with the families. He would sit down with every single incoming kindergartner in the building, and he would talk to their parents and ask them if they have any questions. So he was just building those relationships from the beginning, before school even started, which I thought that was extremely awesome, and that was one of the biggest things that I noticed from him. So that was really cool. So as you can see, as I keep going down through my stuff here, shadowed athletic director, elementary principals. I went to some Board of Education meetings. Those were also very interesting. Honestly, those are a little bit above me right now, where I feel like I'm supposed to be right now, but at some point in time, I would definitely like to spend a little bit more time getting involved in those, and definitely making an impact in the community. The communication subcommittee for the bond issue, that's been really fun. Like I said before, I've got to meet some really cool people and get to know them, so it's been a really great opportunity. So moving on, my final thing that I would like to talk about is my reflection. As I sat down writing my reflection, it was kind of a challenge for me, because after I looked back through the program for the last couple of years, I really didn't know what to expect. I could read this to you verbatim, but I'm not going to. But basically what happened is that a couple of years back, I hurt my back really bad, and I farm, and so I was scared to death that I would never be able to farm again because I couldn't use my left leg, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to make lemonade out of lemons. So I went back to school, and my first class that I took was that leadership class, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I honestly, after about a year, my leg got better, and I didn't really know if I was going to finish the program and decide if this was something that I was going to do with my life. But I decided that it was probably worth it. Even if I don't decide to do it, it would be a great opportunity for me to learn a new thing. And that always goes back to my learning new things that I was adamant about as we started this. You continue to learn. It never hurts no matter what you do. You always will have opportunities if you continue to learn. So that's kind of my biggest thing here. I really didn't know what to expect going into the program. I had looked online a little bit and done some research, and I finally decided that Hayes was the program for me, just basically because I have 2 little kids, I have a full-time job. I still farm, which I really, really enjoy, so I'm kind of a rock between a hard place right now. I'm trying to decide what to do with my life because I really, really enjoy this, and I'm going to try to be able to make it work. So because I think it's what I'm supposed to do. Anyways, like I said, it's been a great experience learning about all the different standards and really thinking about how to function inside a school district, the positive impact you can have on kids, their families, and everybody else that's around. It's just been an amazing experience for me. So I thank you for listening to me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and have a great rest of your summer.